Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we are reviewing some budget airlines in Europe.
Okay, so we spent about 6 months flying all around Europe with a flight every week or two for the most part, and we flew a lot of budget airlines. So we're going to give you our favorites and tell you kind of what the good ones were, what we didn't like, and go from there. So the first one we're going to review is Norwegian, which we flew from Oslo to Dubrovnik, and we liked Norwegian. It was good. There was some trepidation before the flight because we'd heard that they kept sending us emails that they were changing the flight and that this flight was canceled, but we got you on this one. And there is some rumor out there at this time that they may be, entering bankruptcy. So we were a little worried that our flight might just get canceled and we would be stuck in Oslo, but that did not happen, and the flight was really good, and we really enjoyed the service. I don't really have many complaints. It was still a no frills airline, but I would overall say Norwegian was good if you can handle the little bit of stress of that your flight might get canceled because of them going out of business. So that was the main downside to Norwegian. But other than that, we really liked the flight.
And into Oslo, we actually took a flight from Tromsø to Oslo on SAS. And this airline actually had more of a feel of a big airline, like we're used to in the U.S., like, your Delta or United or American or something like that. It had a really good feel to it. The plane seemed like it was, they were just really clean, and the staff was super professional. So I think that SAS is a really good. I was surprised at how inexpensive the flights were too, and not a lot of extra fees for like seats and checking in and all that kind of stuff. So SAS I would recommend. I think it's a good airline, and the staff was pretty friendly, and it was easy to navigate and so forth.
And in contrast to that, probably the worst airline we've flown on the entire time. I'm not sure really how you say this, but Volotea. We flew that from Venice to Santorini, and let me tell you, the flight was delayed hours, first of all, but it wasn't like we were in the terminal delayed. We were on the plane, sitting there delayed, and they just did not handle anything well. They did not. We sat there for about 2 hours on the runway, and they didn't hand out water. They didn't do anything. There were babies crying. People needed stuff. They weren't concerned at all about the passengers the entire 2 hours. And so I just wanted to get some water at that point, and they didn't have any. They didn't pass any out. They didn't do anything. And then finally, once we got up in the air, a couple hours later, they started bringing the meals, which we had gotten some kind of packaged meal. And on our ticket, it said meal and meal and beverage, something like that. And so it turned out that the meal was just a drink. That's what the meal 1 stood for, just a drink. You had to have meal 2 or something like that to get an actual meal. So that was a little disheartening.
Wasn't very clear.
So then I thought, she said, you can only have a drink. I was like, okay, well, I'll take a water. And then she said, well, that doesn't count water. You can't get water. So you could only get tea or coffee.
Mind you, the flight was at night.
Yeah.
So they're trying to feed you coffee at night.
This is at about midnight. So you could only get tea or coffee at midnight. And I said, I don't want tea or coffee. I just want a water. That'll be $3, €3. I thought, I've been sitting here on this plane. This was just the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen on a plane. So we ended up buying a water. And yeah, the service was they just didn't care at all. Nothing. They cared nothing about anything. And we would just not fly with them again. So moving on to, I think, then what was probably the best airline we flew was coming next.
Yeah, so we flew Aegean Airlines from Athens to Pisa, and it was a great experience. On the other hand, completely different than Volotea. Actually, the complete opposite. From the very beginning of even, checking in process was very easy, and the staff was very friendly starting there. So we knew, okay, this is already looking good. And then just the flight staff and the staff at the gate, and the process also for getting everyone quickly and easily onto the plane, and getting out of there on time, and just the communication and everything. So it was a really good process, and it was really good that they did that.
Another good one, not quite as good as Aegean, though, which was our favorite, I think, was Wideroe from Bergen to Tromsø. And that was a really good flight. It was really good staff. Just everything ran as you would expect. No major frills, no major disappointments. And I would definitely fly them again because they just seem to have a quality service at a really good price.
Yeah, and it was a much smaller planes, too. I mean, they were mostly propeller. It was a prep flight we were on. So
yeah, they were almost all like that. So.
Yeah, and then one airline that does get a pretty bad rap, Ryanair, is probably one of the most popular budget airlines in Europe, and it does get a bad rap, I think, a lot from Americans, because we're not used to, having to pay for like all these little things of bringing a bag onto the plane, how many bags you can bring on the plane, paying for checking for a bag, paying for your seat. But there are packages that you can buy that kind of include a lot of these things and are still budget friendly. So I think that, Ryanair kind of gets an unfair bad rap. But we had a good experience with them. I don't think it was bad.
We flew them quite a few times, and it was always really cheap. So if you count that in, it's a good experience. They got us there on time. They were friendly enough. It was,
Yeah, the flights were all full.
They're all full, but other than that, Ryanair we thought was really good. Definitely would fly them again. That is our experience with budget airlines in Europe. If you haven't flown them, we definitely recommend that you do, because you will save a lot of money, and the flights are generally pretty good. So I hope this has been helpful for you. If it was, please subscribe to the channel, give us a comment, a like, and we will see you on the next video.